Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I'm upset I didn't end up doing like my grocery list. Normally, at least for Meijer, I've had it done like on Monday. I honestly didn't end up doing it yesterday or today. So I'm gonna have to probably finish that tomorrow. Well, I went through and added all of the like coupon deals that I plan on doing, which honestly is like hardly anything. And on top of that too, they don't have any like good sales going on this week either, just like regular sales. So honestly, Meijer's not looking like I'm gonna wind up getting too much there. Whereas like last week though, I honestly think we might have been a tad bit over budget, or at least like at budget, something like that. But I think I was telling you guys too, I ended up taking, because I had the money from my Ibotta accounts, and so I actually just cashed that out, so we had that cash. So like while we were like over budget, I guess, I did wind up also getting a lot back from my Ibotta, so I actually have enough that I can cash out again, like a pretty decent amount. So I think that's why, like, you know, I don't like, it wasn't like we were over budget, like, and I couldn't cover it either too, because like I said, I got that money out. But anyways, so like, you know, again, last week we had sort of a lot of stuff. This week does not look like there's that much going on. And I sort of looked over at Jewel too, and it doesn't seem like they have a whole ton of stuff going on either. But I sort of have to wait until their coupons go live, which will be tomorrow, so I can check that out. But actually, I can probably just really make my Meijer list off of just what Meijer's like just the M-Perks coupons that I saw with a couple deals that matched up with that. But like I said, there's probably maybe 10 to 15. I would say probably no more than 20 things I'm gonna get at Meijer this week. So like I said, very few. But then I didn't take a look yet at Valley Produce and Caputo's because I realized that I didn't get my sales papers and nobody brought them in today, and I was like, I don't feel like going outside right now. I'm going to go and grab them. So I'll just wait until hopefully somebody grabs them tomorrow, or I will grab them tomorrow. But it was weird though, because like last week, well, was it last week that they didn't come? No, I think it was 2 weeks ago. No, it was last week because of Labor Day. But before that, I think the week before that, on maybe Tuesday, they didn't come either. But anyways, I think on Wednesday even of last week, like I was waiting on the mailman, and the mailman didn't come until like, I don't know, 3 o'clock or something like that, or later. It was like really late. Normally our mailman's here by like, I feel like at least somewhere around noon, 1 o'clock maybe. I think it was almost around the time when Jack probably would have been getting out of school, because I was like, geez, like that's sort of late, like thinking about it, like, you know. Or I think actually my dad had come home because it was before he left to go to football practice, and the mailman still hadn't come yet, and I was like, really? And then I checked it later that night and it was there. So I was like, so the mailman came then and dropped it off at some point after that. So like I said, that's not how I know it had to have been after 3 o'clock. Anyways, like I said, I didn't finish that up yet today. But yeah, guys, Jack has actually got tomorrow, they're doing the like movie on the football field, which I actually think they started my senior year, because I don't remember there ever being a thing. I didn't go to homecoming my sophomore year or my freshman year, and I wasn't in high school in the school my sophomore year, so I don't remember them ever doing anything my freshman year. But again, I didn't go to homecoming, so maybe they had other festivities, things that were going on I just didn't know about, and the same maybe too with sophomore year. But I feel like sophomore year I at least would have heard about it, and you know, like possibly I did end up going to, though they had like the girls football game, like they play like flag football earlier in the day on Friday. I did wind up going to that my sophomore year, so that's why I know like they had events going on, and I did wind up going to them my sophomore year. I just didn't actually go to the homecoming dance. I went to the football game too, because I think at the time they were like, that was when Matthew was still in youth football, and they were doing like, a lot of times they ended up doing like special things where like they would like let the youth football team like come out and sort of like open the game up for like the you know, like the Friday night football games sometimes. And I remember them doing something for like a couple different times for homecoming. But anyways, like I remember coaching one of those years too. Like they ended up doing something where they opened up a Friday night game. I remember being out on the football field, and I was like, this is so cool, because like I think maybe one year they played like a Friday night lights, not Friday night, might have been like a Saturday night game, because they played Saturday or Sunday was when they had, I think mainly Saturday though, can't even remember anymore, is when they used to have the youth football games. And so I remember there was at least one time maybe, I think, where we did wind up having a like Saturday night football game at the high school, like under the lights, which was really, really cool. And so, like I said, it was just cool to coach and, like, you know, be out there and stuff like that, like during a football game. I actually think that might have been, I want to say actually that happened 2 or 3 times, like, honestly. I remember at least one year, but like, I don't know. I don't know how late it was too, because sometimes we could have had like a later game and like it was still like early enough where like the lights were like starting to come on or something like that, or like somebody turned them on, whatever it is. But I've been in that back room where you have to turn the lights on. It is like an old school like power generator thing with like the giant, like, you know, those giant like lever things to like turn the lights on. It's kind of scary, like those horror film ones where they're like, I gotta go turn the generator, and then they're like, you know, they got the giant like lever thing to turn it on. That's literally what it's like to turn on those lights at like a football field. Like, it's kind of scary. Like I said, there's like those giant, and they're like giant power generator things in there too. I didn't actually ever turn them on, but because my dad would have to go in there and like turn them on and off, and so I went in there one time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of scary. Anyways, guys, I got totally off track. So it was kind of cool to have coached under the lights on like a Saturday night. Like I said, it's a different atmosphere. Like, it's really cool. But I was saying about the like homecoming festivities and all that kind of stuff. But Jack, I think my freshman year though, they started doing the movie nights, because like I said, I know I went to the events for like a lot of the homecoming stuff my junior year, but I didn't end up going to the dance. That was the only thing I didn't end up going to. And then I went my senior year plus to all of the events, and I did wind up going though to, like I was saying, the they had like a movie night on the football field, I think on Wednesday night. And so Jack has that tomorrow, which I don't actually know what they're going to be watching, but my senior year we ended up doing, it was like decades was the theme, and so each different like class had like a different you know, like freshmen were all like, I don't know, the 60s, and I think honestly I don't think we were the 90s, because I remember that I remember some of the juniors, they were like wore like 90s. I think maybe we were either the 80s or maybe the 70s, or like we could have been the 60s. I don't entirely know, but anyways, that was the theme. And like I said, each different like sort of like grade, you know, they had like sort of like their own like decade that was sort of like for them. And so but for the movie night, we ended up watching Grease, since it's sort of more of a decade specific movie. I know Jack honestly I think went to every year that they've had it, and I think Matthew went to most of them too. But like I said, I remember that like that was, and I think it was the first year that they had it. But it was pretty cool like to go out there and like be able to see it and stuff like that. Some people are like, you know, just out there and completely not paying attention to the movie, and like people are still sometimes out there like throwing a football around and stuff like that. You know, more hopefully off to the side, but like, you know, it's just sort of like a gathering event sort of thing. And like I said, that, you know, you get to go and watch the movie. So anyways, like I said, that's what Jack's going to do tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I'm assuming they're going to have their, you know, like dinners, and then Friday they got the football game, and then Saturday they've got the dance. But since Friday is the homecoming game, I was my mom was actually asking, because my mom is an alumni, and then so are me and Matthew as well, but my mom was asking one of her friends that she graduated with if she wanted to go. But I was like thinking about that too. I was like, I'm honestly getting close to where it's going to be like my 10-year reunion, which is absolutely crazy and bizarre to me, because my aunt had just mentioned that I think this year is my cousin's, and so, and she graduated 2 years before me, so she graduated in 2012 and I graduated in 2014. And so I was thinking about that too. I was like, yeah, in 2 years it will be my 10-year, you know, like reunion, which is so weird to me. Like I feel like I didn't like, I don't know, like it doesn't feel like it's been that long. And like on top of that too, I feel like also because like Matthew and Jack have like almost consecutively, except for 1 year, Matthew started school right after me and then was there for 4 years. Then there was a 1 year break where Matthew and Jack, like Jack was in 8th grade, and so nobody was in the high school for just that one singular year, and then Jack has been in for now what will be 4 years after that. So that's why it's like by the time Jack graduates, it'll only be 1 year difference for my 10-year reunion, and I'm like, that's weird. But I feel like that's why too, is like, even though I'm like definitely out of high school, like it just feels like I'm still like, you know, like go to Matthew's volleyball games for, you know, 4 years after that, and football games, and then went to Jack's football games for the 4 years following that. And honestly too, probably will still be going to the football games because my dad coaches. So and then possibly too, Matthew is also going to coach after that. So I don't know, it's like that whole like, you know, a lot of times too, that's what happens, is that a lot of the coaches that coach in the school went to the high school, and it's like you never really end up leaving. So like I sort of feel like it's that sort of situation too. Like we're still here, we're still, you know, in the same area, and we're still, you know, like go to Friday night football games, and we have for, like I said, almost the last, you know, 10 years now. And again, too, we were going to the high school football games before I was even in high school. Like when I was in middle school, we used to go because, again, of the stuff like Matthew, is when he was in youth football, like they would do like either like certain like, oh, you know, welcoming the, you know, upcoming classes, you know, for football, because they would most likely, you know, trying to get them to play in high school as well. So they'd have like special like, you know, youth football night and stuff like that. But most of the time we would still wind up going to the football game regardless, just because like, you know, like my dad would be like, okay, whoever wants to go to the football game after, you know, like the football practices, because they would normally have practice on Friday and then they go afterwards. And so a lot of the times like Matthew would wind up going with his friends just after football practice, and then my dad and coaches and stuff like that would wind up going to the game too. But it's been a long time, like I said, especially even still since I was in, you know, before I was in high school, that we used to wind up going there. But yeah guys, anyways, like I said, this is Jack's, you know, final senior year, and the last of us to be in high school during that time. But like I said, that's very short-lived, and then it'll be my 10-year reunion. Like that's no. We went to go and see family last Monday, like I was saying, and you know, my aunt had mentioned that, and I was like, no way, is it gonna be just another 2 years? Like I feel like it's still 2020. Like every single time I'm like, oh no, it's 2022. I'm like, that's not right. I was like, we lost like an entire year and a half because of, you know, like lockdowns and the pandemic and everything like that. Like, you know, at least was a good, you know, at least a year pretty much. And so I'm like, wait, no, like we can't be that late already, you know. It can't be that old. So anyways though, I hope Jack will have fun, like I said, with his final year of homecoming festivities. But one of the things though that I thought was really cool, one of the schools that we went to last year, their homecoming game, we played them, and they actually used to they would have anybody, which was funny because that's where my aunt and uncle went to school, was we were playing, and my uncle originally said that he was going to come, and then they weren't able to come. But he went to that school, and they had all the alumni come to like the alumni tent and sign their names, and then they would announce it over the speaker and be like, we want to welcome home, you know, so-and-so or whatever. And I was like, oh, if he would have came, he could have done that, and then, you know, like, you know, had his name announced over the, you know, speaker system during the football game. So I think that's really cool, and I kind of wish that our school did that, but as long as I've been going, they've never done it. So I think that's something cool that somebody should bring up to them that they should do. Maybe I could either talk to my dad about doing that, even if they can't do it like this year, like, you know, see if he can maybe talk to like the football coaches, or, you know, again, whoever winds up sort of, you know, is organizing all of that. Like Jack also too, the announcer that does it is actually, I think, the speech teacher, maybe an English teacher too or something like that. But Jack's had him a couple times, and so that's actually why his freshman year he didn't know how to say his name, and then once Jack started having him for like classes, he learned how to say Jack's name. So now whenever he announces it, he knows how to say Jack's last name, because our last name's not very easy to pronounce, especially too if you're actually trying to say it like the Polish way. It's also a little confusing, but the English way is also, actually I think maybe the English way is just as confusing. I don't know. Anyways guys, but I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give the gold thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.